It's time for Push to Play, your weekly trophy podcast and all things PlayStation with CJ, Mindy, and Unknown.
Hello, welcome, and thank you for joining us to episode number 12 of Push to Plat. And do we have a show for you today? Well, I don't know, I hope so. I'd like to welcome back co-host Mr. Unknown. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, look, I'm fantastic, thank you. It's good to speak to you again. I know we've had a couple of weeks with the wonderful The Mind is a City, but it's fantastic to have Mr. Unknown, resident completionist, back with us today. Now, we've received a question this week, Mr. Unknown. So shall we start with that? Why not?
I guess. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I feel like I'm turbocharged this morning. I don't know. Maybe because it's like a normal
I feel like I was trying to talk and you're just barreling through.
Oh, sorry. Please. I would like you to talk now. What would you like to say?
Do I have permission to talk? No.
You do have permission.
Just go. Let's do our question.
Okay, well, we're definitely onto the question now. So this question comes from SlammerJammer28, and this comes through on the Twitter on a DM. So, you know, that's something you can do too if you want to submit questions. So it says here, I'll read the first bit because it's really nice. It says, "Hi there, I recently started listening to your podcast when I found out my friend Mindy had joined. Loving it so far. I have questions for you all." Or yow. I don't know, that's a very American word, so I'm not sure. I'll just leave that there. Do you have it? So the question here, do you have any gaming friends who aren't trophy hunters? If so, what do they think about trophy hunting, and have you encouraged them to join?
Everyone I know, like real life, the only people that hunt trophies I know are people that I know from online. No one else at all. Like, people have PlayStations. I've got cousins with PlayStations, and I know other people that have PlayStations, but they don't care about trophies at all. Some of them even just turn the notifications off. I know that.
That's true. Yeah. And what about online then? Are all the people you know through that, are they all sort of, would you call them like trophy hunters, or are they more like gamers that hunt trophies on the side, or what would you say?
I mean, I met a lot of people through trophy hunting communities, or sites. I don't want to say dedicated trophy hunting, but that was certainly a main theme of them. I don't know, just varying degrees of it. You know, there's varying degrees of trophy hunting.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, like, sometimes it goes up and down a bit too, doesn't it? Sometimes you're more into it. Other times, you know, not so much, I think. So,
definitely. I could test to that.
Yeah. Do you know anyone then sort of from these online things now that just doesn't sort of do trophies? Like you were saying, you know, cousins and things play, but just they don't do trophies at all. They just play and notifications off, if you like.
Well, those are my cousins that turn the notifications off. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I do. I can't. Like, what you talk? Like, you're saying like they're. I mean, I know a lot of people that just don't really hunt the trophies.
I don't know. Like, I always think it interesting. You know, when you turn on the PS4 and you sync the trophies and you see the percentages of like the whole PlayStation community, the percentages for the trophies, and then so you go on a trophy tracking site and then you see the percentages there, you know, are much more focused or whatever else. So there's obviously a ton of people playing, like millions of people playing that obviously don't care about trophies at all. I think, you know, you see through those things. And I find that, I don't know, I find that fascinating. I suppose we're in such a small ecosystem within gaming itself that, you know, we both know.
It's a niche within a niche.
Yeah, but, you know, because that's the area we both mix in. I suppose we know, you know, most of the gamers we know are trophy hunters. So we just see it sort of that way, I think, Slammer. So I don't know about you. Like, what about you? See, I think I'm a little different to Unknown because I play games like Final Fantasy 14. So in that game, admittedly, it's cross-platform. So I'm playing with mainly PC players when I'm playing on the PS4. So obviously they're not interested in trophies at all. And that's not a trophy game. So, I mean, I think when I first started that game and got into a guild, I mentioned trophies in the Discord chat, and I was basically shunned. Nobody wanted to know or help me, and they were appalled. So I think I have a core sort of group of maybe gaming friends from that game in particular that have no interest at all in trophies. They wouldn't even know what they are. And then I think I have a spectrum. I've mixed with some of the, I suppose, what you would call the biggest trophy whores in PlayStation gaming, and then I also, on the other end as well, a lot of people that they don't play much sort of stuff for trophies at all. They just game, and then whatever comes along sort of comes along, I think. So I don't know. I like a mix, I think, of people. So yeah, I don't know. I hope that answers your question. But I think, I don't know about Unknown. I'm sure we'll get into this later today. But I think for myself, the requirement of being a trophy hunter has nothing to do with whether I would be a gaming friend or whether I'd find interest in you. To be honest, if anything, it might be switching the other way. I find quite often people that don't hunt trophies exclusively are more interesting perhaps than just straight trophy hunters. So I don't know. I think a bit of everything for everyone. Yes. Would you sort of agree with that, Unknown? We're sort of
just do what you want to do. Have fun. If you like trophies, drop the trophies. If you don't like trophies, don't care. Don't care.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but as far as influencing people into hunting trophies, I don't know. I know you didn't really answer that, I suppose, because as you said, most of the people hunt already.
I don't influence people. I don't influence people to hunt trophies. I don't know, especially with the amount of trophies we get nowadays and stuff. And it's just like you're so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're already doing it.
I don't think I've ever said like, "Oh man, you should try to hunt trophies." It hasn't really occurred to me either. Like if I'm watching someone stream some other game and they don't hunt trophies, and it doesn't cross my mind, oh man, you should try for the plat in this or whatever. I mean, they're having fun with the game. That's what matters. It doesn't cross my mind to try to get them to.
No, it's something you come to yourself. I would say, as far as myself, I don't think I've directly influenced people. I'm sure. I think there are many people that would consider me an enabler. I consider myself an enabler. I sometimes have maybe encouraged in other ways people to move into trophy hunting, maybe more than they expected at the time. But to be honest, that's what happened with me when I started like serious sort of gaming, I suppose, like 3 to 4 years ago or whatever else. I wasn't that into it until someone reached out and corrupted me a little bit as well from Australia, who actually ironically doesn't play anymore, but we're still good friends. And I suppose, non-gaming friends now because we don't game together. But yeah, so I suppose I was influenced by somebody and I maybe in turn have enabled people. Whether I've influenced them or not, I'm not sure. So I don't know.
You are a podcast that talks about trophies exclusively.
That's true. I could be influencing. Well, I could be influencing people. I don't know. Well, I mean,
I guess I am doing the same thing right now.
That's
too.
True. Maybe we're influencing.
Against my comment of I don't directly try to influence people to do trophies.
No, I'm much the same as well. And I mean, I suppose last week you could argue we did a really deep dive on what becomes of Edith Finch, and I suppose in a way we were influencing people on our our opinions of the game and getting them to play it. So I don't know. I suppose you could see it that way as well. Just as a side point here, Unknown, can I ask you a question about walking sims?
So this is like somewhat related to last week. Yeah, sure, go.
No, not at all. Just the term in general. Yeah. So I didn't realize until this week, but walking sims is seen within the gaming community as like a derogatory or negative term. Do you see it in that way? Like,
I don't enjoy most walking sims, but I don't think of if I say a walking sim, I just think that's more of describing what the game is to me. I don't think it as like if I call something. I don't know. I mean, I think most terms to describe gameplay, I don't think it was derogatory. I'm trying to think of an example of one that would be.
Yeah. I'd never come across it like that. Well, I never thought of it in that sense before. But yeah,
how did this come about being derogatory?
Just reading it on forums and things that the term has been used in that way, or that's what people associate with that term. Some gamers or whatever. So by all means, I understand not everybody loves them, and I mean, as we said last week, not all walking sims are equal, definitely. But it was just an interesting thing either way.
I mean, was the context like they're like, ew, walking sim?
I think that may have been yes, without the ew part.
I don't think that I don't take that as the term is derogatory. I take that more as this person posting this hates walking simulators.
Yeah, I don't know. I just found it interesting or whatever. But, if you still haven't played Edith Finch and you think you might be interested in that, then, go for it or not, however you...
I haven't played it, TJ. Do you recommend it?
Look, I recommend you listen to last week's episode, not after you play it, not before, if you're going to listen to it. Yeah, I do recommend it. I think it's only like an hour and a half, so it's not a massive time sink by any stretch. And yeah, it's very easy trophies, incredibly easy trophies. It has a chapter select at the end, so if you did miss anything, it's very easy to go back quickly and fix it up. So I think it's good. It's highly narrative, as we said, though, so that would depend on whether that interests you or not.
That would turn me off. In other words,
didn't say that.
Gameplay over everything. That's what.
Well, as we talked about last week, there is some gameplay in this. It's not a direct walking sim. So,
some
yeah,
gameplay.
well, yeah. Well, we'll get on to that with another game this week, I think. So anyway, so I hope Slammer, we sort of answered your question in a way, but I would be fascinated in how you see yourself and your role as well, whether you influence people and whether you enjoy both gaming trophy whores and non sort of gaming trophy people that just play for fun. So, what have you been playing, Unknown, this week?
I have been playing. Well, let me bring up what I've been playing. Got the Cage Plat a few weeks ago, but that was a few weeks ago already.
Yeah, I think we need to congratulate you because that was like 1,500, wasn't it?
That was 1,500.
Well done, yeah.
Played some. Well, I guess I shouldn't go back that far. This week, I played some Time Spinner, which is awesome. It is a really good Metroidvania game. It was $20, so I was like all the time, like had in my mind like, oh man, I'll wait for a sale. But I broke down and bought it. So, and it's really good.
What's the difficulty level in that game like? Would you say?
Not hard.
Oh, not hard. Okay, no. Perfect.
I don't even think the plat. I think the plat's super common too. I don't think there's any trophy that's really that hard. I was making it harder than I needed to be. I think. I'm thinking because it's a trophy for beating a boss without getting hit and without stopping time. And I was just trying it like on several of the bosses, but I'm just thinking you like New Game Plus or something. It's super easy, or I don't know.
Is there? Is it sort of like a missable trophy game? Would you need a guide?
There is no. I can't find a guide. I mean, there's probably a Steam guide for it. Is my guess.
Okay.
I haven't gotten to that point where I'm cleaning up yet. So.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I'm still in the main story. I still got like a couple bosses left, I guess. But.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So far, I have not used the guide.
Yeah, that's PS4 as well, isn't it? Perfect.
PS4 and Vita. It's cross-buy, so you could actually play it twice with your $20. Then I played some word Sudoku. Played it though. I didn't copy answers. It's very even without a guide. Like it kind of just lets you cheat your way to finishing it if you're ever stuck. Well, you would never get stuck because you can just R1 L1 and then it tells you what's wrong and then fixes what's wrong and there's no penalty to doing that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, because you probably just saw the guide and started copying the answers. But
well, many people that do that game, because you did it legit, I suppose you did it with words, but there is an option to change it to numbers.
I changed it to numbers.
Oh, you did.
It's easier for me in my mind to visualize the numbers. But
yeah, so that's how I do
numbers too. Because you can go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 over and over in your head. It's much easier going through the words of, I don't know, what's 9 letters, word pougy in your head over and over. Actually, that wouldn't work. There's 2 W's and 2 O's. But yeah, it's just easier. And then I started mix-ups and then also playing that one too, which is without copying every answer. But that one you can also cheat on because you can get the first letter every time, which is massive because it's like name a body part that starts with S and is very long. That makes it so much easier. Yeah, but I mean, I like word puzzles and I like pick-a-picks things, so I'd prefer to play those without guides.
Yeah. There's also, when you finish those, I don't know if you'll do it, but the new, I think it's probably the newest one, the crossovers as well. That's quite cool.
I heard you can really cheese your way through that one.
Well, you can, but I'd say you would enjoy it legit as well. So, yeah. But I mean, look, as we are a trophy podcast, I know we deviated slightly last week from trophy, so I intend to throw as much trophy garbage in today as I possibly can.
Much trophy trash compacting as possible.
Well, helpful tips. See, the problem I have with these games is I'm not sure whether I'm going to bother doing the PS4 stacks anymore, because particularly with the crossovers, with Vita being touch screen, you can do it very, very quickly just by touching everything basically and moving through. And if you don't want to involve your brain too
crossovers,
heavily.
if you only got like 4 tiles or something, or 5 tiles or something, I mean.
Well, I just think the
It
touch
doesn't
screen
take that fast to go through it.
Oh no, we're talking about
Faster.
saving.
If you're trying to speed run the game, you're gonna have a easier time on Vita. But
well, that's I mean, like if you're playing something else potentially at the same time.
actually, you could.
Yeah.
Well, no, if you remote play with Vita, it doesn't enable a touchscreen, does it? Never mind on that.
So, no.
I don't think it does.
Yeah. But anyway, you've got another good one coming up when you finish those.
Another good? Really? Is it a good one? I don't know if you saw me.
Well, I think you'll like. It's my favorite one actually.
Devious Dungeon 2. Did you play Devious Dungeon 2? 2, not 1. Well, actually, did you play both of them?
I have. I haven't finished 2. I only just started it, but I've done all the first ones. Yeah.
All 6 of them.
I think so. Yes. Good game.
I don't know. It just didn't feel good to me. It might have been because Time Spinner is super smooth, and it's just like it just feels like you're just flying through levels and stuff when you get certain abilities. But it felt very clunky to me, Devious Dungeon 2. Very clunky, and there is like you might not notice it. Like if you jump on a platform, you have to wait like a half a second to jump back up. Same with dropping down the platforms. And then also you can't I don't know how to describe it really in words, but like there's like certain distances you can move forward and you can jump. So you either like land in the middle of the platform, land on the far edge of the platform, or the other far edge of the platform, or you miss the platform. There's not like the one block platform you can't land like, I don't know, 15 places on. It's like this, or you fall off. Like that kind of messes you up a little bit too. I think what they added was really good. I mean, there's like a lot more. I mean, there's 3 characters now. There's a lot more enemies. The bosses weren't bad last time, but I think there's this like night one, which I thought was kind of nice. Also very luck based because there's this arrow move, and it was just like, well, keep trying until the arrows don't hit you, because they come from the ceiling, and it's like you can't. I mean, you can kind of see them, but by the time you see them, it's like hard to move like just enough forward so you don't run into another one. I don't know. Just try it a bunch and keep wailing on them at the arrow part and hope the arrows don't.
Can I ask which character you chose?
I chose the mage. It was either between mage or the rogue. I didn't really want to play as a warrior again. A little disappointed the mage's attacks weren't longer, but I mean you get different rods, different lengths. What was your character?
There are a lot of weapons, aren't there? Yeah, you can buy as you.
Well, there was a lot of weapons last time. I mean, I'm thinking there's the same amount of weapons, same amount of armor per character, but you have 3 characters this time, so you have 3 times the amount of stuff.
I really like that there's 3 characters this time, because I know there's already. I think this is for Vita too. I'm not sure, but so I know there's already an EU and an NA stack. I'm sure there will be an Asian one as well.
I'm sure there will be 6 stacks of this thing, CJ.
So having the 3 characters, I'm actually playing the EU and the NA sort of.
You sound like a robot.
Oh, do I? Sorry, I'm flatlining now. I need the coffee again. I was going to say the EU and the NA stack. So I'm doing both at the same time, but with 2 different characters. So the mage on one and the warrior or hack and slash character on the other. So I think it's cool that you can sort of, I don't know, experience the same game slightly differently each time.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna play it 6 times, I don't know. It feels longer than the other one. I don't know. I might just be playing it bad or something.
Yeah, I think it is longer as it goes through. But yeah, I quite like the first one, so I'm quite happy that there's a second one, and that what they've added, I think, it just adds to the overall game.
Oh, there's also some lagginess too. It's fairly noticeable. Like if you're watching it, you might not notice it, but if you're playing it, you definitely know. Like there'll just be like these massive frame drops and like frame rate, and it's like just really randomly get all messed up. Like content wise, I think it's better. I think just like how it was made, it's not made as good. Like makes sense. Like fluidity and it just doesn't feel like really that good. It's definitely not polished feeling to me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, as far as games go, at least as you say, you have to play the whole thing for this game, so it does make it a bit longer as well. So I mean, yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to say or throw out there? So it's quite a lot.
I don't think there's been much else. Everything else I played like 2 weeks ago plus. So.
I see you finished Far Cry New Dawn. That was a couple of weeks ago now, though. But congratulations. Yeah. You're not a big fan of that game, were you? I think so.
I don't know what it was. I just like stopped having fun with it. I was streaming it too, which might have had something to do with it. But.
Yeah, that's fair. And I see you also did some Senran Kagura there.
Oh yeah, Senran was really good. I like that game.
Yeah, it's a fun game, isn't it? Yeah, it's sort of deceptively long as well. I suppose you're skipping.
Deceptively long? Are you kidding me? It's like a 6-hour game.
Oh well, not if you read all the text and stuff.
If you read all the text.
Yeah, no, but it is very it's very enjoyable. And that's the second time you've done that, isn't it? So that would have been even.
That's the third time I've done that.
Oh, third time. Okay, so yeah, you're an old hand at that game. Yeah, I think that's all the stacks. I don't know how many there are. That sounds like enough. Yeah, that does sound like enough. Yeah, cool, excellent. But I don't know. I can't see anything else there. So, and isn't it wonderful?
Pix Classic was good.
Oh yes.
Bricks 2 DLC. I was annoyed I had to play, but
the DLC. Yeah, and isn't it wonderful now that Kingdom Hearts 3 is finished? That will now be gone for us. Although I hear there is DLC.
No, it won't. We're getting DLC, CJ. We already got
trophy DLC.
Well, I mean, we got critical mode, which should have just been in there from the get-go, but it wasn't. And we should have probably had a critical mode trophy, but we didn't.
Yes.
And we're supposed to get story DLC.
Oh, okay. So it might be some trophies.
I don't know, things might have changed. I haven't heard anything about it for like a month, so.
I don't remember a season pass for that game, so either that story DLC will be free or it'll be an additional cost, I suppose, won't it? There was no season pass.
I don't know if there was. I mean, I bought mine physical. I didn't like look on Sony for there.
Yeah. Oh, well,
$9.99. Well, there was the one that had like all the Kingdom Hearts games you could buy for like 100 or something.
Yeah.
Where like wasn't really a good deal when you thought about it.
No.
But because it's like $100 for the 1.5, 2.5, and then the what's the one that whatever the one with Dreamed Out Distance is, like 2.0. No, not 2. I don't remember the name. But the thing is, those are like only $20 games. So you add that to the 60 and it's 100 anyway. So
could you imagine if you got that PS4 collection that has everything in it and then 3, just imagine sitting down the time sink that's going to be to play every one of those.
I think that would be fun.
I'm not saying it wouldn't be fun, but that would be a lot of time.
Well, if you're going to plan all of them, it would. If you're just playing through the stories, you could probably do it in like
a couple of 100 hours, you reckon?
A while. Yeah, maybe 100. Yeah. No.
Oh, it'd be more than 100, I think. Maybe a couple of
150, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm sure there are people out there doing that, so good luck to you if you are. Yeah, I couldn't imagine anything worse, but that's just me personally.
If you wanted to plat it all, I think it's probably like 500.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. It's great though they put them all on one disc, I think. Yeah, perfect. Anything else you'd like to throw out there, or?
It's actually 3 discs, but that's it. What were you playing, CJ?
Well, I don't know. As we discovered last week,
I don't know. Amnesia, and you don't remember.
So I have to look it up as well. But here we go. So so let's have a look. So I just wanted to give a really quick shout out because I noticed that someone on Twitter mentioned this game today, Figment, which we talked about really briefly last week. A really cute little indie puzzler from the same people. Now it's going to elude me here. It's by Bedtime Games.
Tearaway.
No. These are the people. It was 100.
It looked like Tearaway to me.
Yeah, it's actually. Did you ever play this little 100% game called Back to Bed? This was a few years ago now.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, so it's by those people. It's a little bit. It's a little bit different to that, but the art style is similar to it. It's sort of like it's a free roaming. I don't know, like I suppose you would call it a platformer in a way, loosely a platformer. It's a little bit of hack and slash.
I don't think you're jumping in Figment, are you?
There is jumping, yes, in Figment, yes. So there's jumping and rolling.
I don't know if it's a platform. Yeah, but it's like a top-down
It is
thing,
top-down,
right?
yeah.
The view?
So
I've never heard a top-down view game.
Well, a side-on. It's not directly top-down, no. It's more sort of, side-on perspective. So
maybe it could. Maybe there's top-down platformers. I guess I just don't think of it.
There's jumping.
2D platformer. I think of like Mario 64 style. If I think of a 2D platformer,
yeah.
I think. Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
I mean, overall, it's a fairly easy game. It has light puzzling elements where you sort of pick up these batteries and you carry them with you and put them down in different holders to open bridges or move clouds and stuff like this. So it's very light. It's got a really crazy story. The music in it is fantastic. There's a couple of music puzzles as well. I think the game, I mean, if you're playing with the guide straight through, I think the game maybe is 5 to 6 hours. You don't need a guide to play. You might need a guide. The collectibles are memories, so just you might accidentally not go to that section of the map, or you may not quite figure out how the battery puzzle works for that section, so you could look it up there. But you can do that all at the end of the game as well. So you can go after you beat the final boss, you can go the whole way through again.
That's good. I like when there's no missables.
Yeah, nothing missable. And to be honest, I think most of the trophies you would get naturally, it's probably only the memories. And it's really nice because the way they put the memories, they're around this tree in the village, and so you can actually see which memory you're missing by number. So then you could just go back to the guide and just go straight to that one if you missed it. And because you're killing most of the enemies as you go for trophies, you clean out the areas. There's no real enemies, so it would be very quick to go back. There's only be a couple of the ones that always spawn there. And the guide for that, I assume, because I saw the person who's almost about to plat it is a guide writer, I assume there will be a guide for PS4 very shortly. But if not, there is a true achievements guide which lists everything as well. And that so far is available on the Japanese stack, or Hong Kong, the same stack, and the EU and NA store. But again, I'm pretty sure the Hong Kong stack is the cheapest by a fair way for some reason. I'm not sure. And it has been out there longer, by a couple of weeks, so I don't know. So I throw that one out there.
I was going to ask you a question, though.
Please.
So you said you get to move cloud. You have to move clouds. My question is, why do you have to move clouds? Are they obstacles? You cannot walk through a cloud for some reason?
Well, they're sort of like they're like poison gas type clouds. So one of the enemies you're sort of chasing through the levels, he drops these things, so you just can't move forward. Basically, move into the new section. Yeah, before you.
All right, I had these visions of like clouds in the sky, and I'm just thinking, why would you need to move them? Just like walk through it.
So some of the little boss fights, like, they're very easy, but it maybe take you a moment or two, or in my case 5 minutes, to actually see how the mechanic behind it works, because you can sort of see what you're supposed to do, but just actually seeing how you would use the tools in that section to do it. But as soon as you see it, it's very simple to do. So, and you could spend the 5 minutes dodging things while you figure it out, and you wouldn't die. And if you do die, it doesn't matter, because it spawns you right there. The saving is very consistent in the game, so you lose no progress.
Checkpoint generous.
Yeah, very, very generous. So I don't know. Then I'm going to throw this game out because I loosely thought this might be spam. This Darkwood game, which unfortunately is not spam. In fact, when you open it, it gives you a warning that this game is going to be incredibly difficult and you'll need a lot of patience. And so I thought, wow, okay, we'll just close that up for now.
So you decided to close the game and throw it away.
No, I'm gonna give it a try because it's sort of a horror. I think it's a top-down game as well, a horror sort of survival game. So I will give it a try. But I noticed that the easiest difficulty is normal, and even on normal, the description does not sound like normal in most games. It sounds like hard or hard plus. So we'll see. And I can see the trophy percentage is crazy low on that game, so it's obviously difficult. I played some Devo Dungeon 2, but we've talked about that as well. So. And just maybe talk about 3 of the main ones that I've played. I will preface and say that I've been playing a little Rage 2, but really not enough to say anything about it, other than it is probably one of the better Avalanche Studio looking games I've played. I think they're Just Cause 4. I don't know if you played this Unknown. It came out last year. This game was a mess and a disgrace, really, that they could release something that looks like that on modern consoles. And it was equally bad.
Well, wasn't there Just Cause 3 supposed to be really good?
Just Cause 3 was good, and it looked good as well. But the graphics, I mean, the engine they use is, I don't understand them. I mean, they're not a AAA. Like, they partner with Bethesda as the publisher. But, I suppose they're like AA Studio Avalanche. I don't know, but they're a long way away from what's being released by AAA studios in graphic quality. For Just Cause 4, I thought that game on both Xbox and PS4 was really not good at launch.
Really? I thought Just Cause 4 wasn't supposed to be that bad. I mean, I don't know. It could have been terrible.
I think the gameplay is fine. Like, if you like that sort of gameplay, and 3, like, that's really, really fun. But I can play almost anything, as everybody knows. But I found that just too I mean, because it is a big time commitment, that game, and I wasn't prepared to struggle through that. But on the positive side, Rage 2 does look much better. I believe it's the same engine as well, so maybe they've just, tweaked it in some way. It plays like the Mad Max game that they made a few years ago, before Just Cause 3, I believe. So if you like that sort of open world, go around bases, collectathon with a light sort of story over the top, I think you'll love it. And it's set in that sort of the wasteland, so graphically it does look good. I suppose it's very dull colors and stuff, with interestingly pink again, like Far Cry. They like to use pink, so it looks good. So, and the other plus on that game is the driving is actually very good, which is not always the case in these games. So driving point A to B. So I'm quite enjoying that. In fact, I was just playing a little before, so I will go back to that. But the things I'd like to give a shout out today, because I know it came out this week, is a Plague Tale Innocence. So I don't know, do you know anything about this?
I saw a lot of people were playing that. I know anything about it.
Yeah, look, it's a game. It's an interesting game. So it's not directly has anything to do with Sony, although Sony are pushing this game quite hard on the store and around the place. And I think it's a good push. If you liked games like Hellblade, I think you would like this. I mean, it's funny because in a way this is a walking sim. There are long sections where you literally just walk and watch cutscenes, but then there is also lots of gameplay. There's a crafting system. There's there is combat to a degree in this game. There's collectibles and stuff like that. So it's a slower pace of game. In fact, it's a funny game because it's a slower pace. I think I played the first couple of chapters and it was very sort of slow and quite a bit of stealth involved as well. And then I hit this section where it suddenly was very action intensive for just a couple of minutes. So that felt a little strange, but good. So you sort of never know what's coming, I think, around the corner. It looks amazingly beautiful. I sometimes wonder, I do understand that a lot of this is cutscenes, so that's how they get away with it, but it makes me wonder why games like this can look so good on the PS4 and other games don't look this good. I don't know why.
Because they put more time into making it, I think.
Yeah, I suppose. I think a lot of time's gone in. The voice acting is fantastic. So, without giving it away, it's obviously about the Black Plague that swept across Europe. It's based in...
I didn't know that's what it was.
No, I don't want to give it away.
All the game Black Plague, then it's more obvious.
Yeah, so you're based in France. You play as a... it looks like you play as two characters, but really so far you've only played as the girl, and her brother's sort of with you. You can occasionally control him to do stuff, but it's not like Brothers where you sort of do sort of both characters independently or at the same time. It's mainly her, which is fine. The voice acting, as I said, is very good throughout it all. And yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of, graphically, as I said, it's amazing. The other amazing thing about this game is that the plague's obviously spread by the rats, so they're the central enemy, I suppose, in the game, if you like. And there are sections where the rats descend, and there are just, I don't know, like the rat animation is a little bit maybe not as good as the rest of the game, but when you see, you sort of understand, because there can be just hundreds of them. There was a section the other night where I came and they were coming over the hill, and it was just, you could see, it wasn't just a blur, you could actually sort of see the individual rats, but just a blanket of them. And it's, that is quite amazing as well. The deaths are quite brutal as well. Like the checkpoint system is very generous, but if you do die, it's very quick and it's very sudden. Sometimes a little bit randomly, I think, as well.
Oh, I thought when you meant brutal, I thought you meant like people like these Mortal Kombat fatality sort of during cutscenes. I thought that's what you meant by brutal.
Well, brutal. There is brutality in it, in that the rats they just eat you whole and stuff, and very quickly
crawl through your eyes and things.
Yeah. I won't say too much, but yeah, it's definitely abrasive. At least the first few times you see it, and there's this cool thing where you sort of you stand in light circles or around the fire at times to keep away from the rats. But if you move just a little bit too far away, you might think you're okay, but then all of a sudden the rats are on you, and you literally have maybe a second, maybe less, to move, and before they get you, and you're dead. So it can be very quick if you're operating on the fringes of the game on what is otherwise a bit of a slow-paced game, I think. So I really like that. I imagine it's not for everybody. I understand the plat is fairly easy. It does have a chapter select afterwards as well, so if you miss any of the collectibles, although I'm not using a guide, and I'm pretty sure I haven't missed anything through the first 5 chapters by looking at the way the tally works, and of course it's all notated, so you can see if you're missing anything. If you're going to play it, I believe the only trophy to watch out for is the upgrading and crafting trophies, and I think the only way you can miss that is if you make too much ammunition, if you waste too much of your materials throughout the game, or if you don't do much searching or whatever else. So I would definitely recommend that game if you like that.
You can't farm materials? If there's chapter select, you can't just get more by going through the chapter?
I think you can, but I think it's possible to do that trophy without having to replay any chapters. Like if you're conservative.
Well, it wouldn't be missable then if you could go back and farm
okay, yes. Well, missable within your first playthrough without having to go back. Although, again, I'm not sure, because I noticed on one of the forums someone said that stuff doesn't carry through the new game, but I'm pretty sure I read in a trophy guide it does. So you can check that out. Whatever else. I know the guides were only just finished the other day, so maybe there's an amendment now as more people have finished it. I'm not sure.
Maybe they're inaccurate because they try to rush them out sometimes.
So yeah, sometimes. Well, I think I do think they say it's like a work in progress, the guide sometimes. So you know, play at your own risk if you want. And then what else? Oh, I played some Bubsy. Have you ever played a Bubsy game?
I have never played a Bubsy game.
Oh, you're missing out. They're fantastic. Yeah, I think you would like it. Like, it's a side scroller. Can I say this is a platformer? Well, I'm going to. Why not?
Yes.
And it's pretty easy. I think as it goes on, the levels will get more difficult, but they're obviously yarn. It's the collectibles, the balls of wool throughout, and I think this game would have been very, very difficult if you had to collect every one in every level. But you don't have to do that. In fact, you only have to finish the levels. You don't even necessarily have to collect any of them if you didn't want to. So that makes it easy. And there's 3 like little collectible things you need to collect in the levels, but it's all fairly straightforward. But as I said, I imagine the final levels are a little bit difficult. It's very short as well. I would say probably like 5 or 6 hours, probably even less if you're good at these games. I think someone's done it in 8 hours, but yeah, I think it could be done in less. If you know what you're doing with those style of games. So that's good, cheap fun. It's kind of expensive, I think. So good, cheap fun.
It's kind of expensive. All right.
Well, like cheap as in like, no, not cheap as financially. That was a bad turn of phrase, wasn't it? Cheap as in like, you don't have to think, or, it's fun. But expensive as in financially expensive. That's a good bailout for me, isn't it? Anyway, and so the last thing I wanted to throw out, and I won't say much about this because obviously it's in mid-game, so it wouldn't be fair to spoil it if people are waiting till all the episodes are out, but is Life is Strange 2.
I didn't even know that was out.
Yeah, the 3rd episode, I didn't know it was out either. I think it struck last week. Might have even been the week before. I didn't even know that it came out. But
they not advertise the thing anymore?
Well, no, they do.
I would think that'd be something they would try, like on the Sony store when you go on. It's like episode 3, Life is Strange, out now or something.
Yeah, well, I never saw it on the store.
I feel like when the original Life is Strange came out, I feel like they were really pushing it. Like every time you were in the store, it's like you would see it everywhere. I don't know about this one.
No, well, I didn't see it. I know there are they have released the dates for the final 3, 4, and 4, for 4 and 5 coming up. So they are out there. What I don't understand is I think when I read the dates, I was a bit turned off because it's a really slow release. Like really slow, even for an episodic game. I suppose they've hit their release date so far, so they're giving themselves plenty of time. But I'm just looking here. Yeah, the final episode, the next episode comes out towards the end of August, and then the final episode comes out in the beginning of December. So it's a long sort of a wait. And I mean, just as a trophy point of view, I'm not quite sure what's going on because someone's already got the plat. It will be a developer for sure at 0.01%. So that would imply that the games is finished, or at least the trophy structure is finished.
Is it a developer for sure? I don't know.
No, I don't know. Well, more than likely if the game's not coming out till December. But I don't know if it's finished. It's a shame that it's such, especially the way the episode, this particular episode ends. It really obviously, harkens for the next one. So, I mean, if you haven't started, and you're on the fence, I'd probably wait now until December. But as I said last time I played this game, I think if you have a problem with Edith Fincher, you're not going to enjoy this game at all. This episode was almost not a game. It was basically a movie. I think there was very little gameplay at all, which I quite enjoyed. I thought this story was better in this episode. They're based. They go to Humboldt County, which is illegal marijuana capital of America, apparently. So it's where it's all grown.
I mean, marijuana is legal in parts of America.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think this Humboldt. There's a really good Netflix documentary, something Mountain, I forget now, that came out.
Marijuana Mountain.
It was something like that. Yeah, and it was done like a fly on the wall documentary before it was sort of legalized in America, and as it was being legalized in some of the states. So this is the area, it's basically wild country. They're a law unto themselves, and a lot of people go missing, which implies they're probably killed there. This is in real life, obviously, and obviously a big trade. Going on, big money as well at this point. So I mean, that documentary is.
I wouldn't think you would want to put your giant marijuana business in a. Like right next to New York City or something like that.
No. Well, this is all on a mountain.
Very good idea.
It's all on a mountain, and like it's just wild. And obviously, like the police are, there's been arrangements made to let these people carry on doing. This is not going on now. This is before it was legalized, so a few years ago when it was filmed and released recently. But there's obviously payoffs and all sorts of dodginess going on to allow this trade to exist there. But I found that documentary fascinating, and I think it would help maybe watching that if it does interest you before you play this episode, because this episode is set around that backdrop, and that involves basically the whole episode, I think. But as I said, I mean, the second episode there was less gameplay, and I made the comment before, but the third episode there was even way less. So the way this is going, by the fifth episode you just won't do anything. You'll just push play and watch it, I think, which is fine by me. But the other thing I find interesting, I don't know, listeners, obviously I'm more attuned perhaps than some people to this, but at the very start of this episode, it really it brings in sort of, because they're hippies potentially, it's all this fluid sexuality or whatever, which I know is becoming more of a thing in games, a bit of a novelty now. I know Assassin's Creed did it as well. Fragments of Him was one of the first ones, a walking sim, ironically, a few years ago, but where you basically get the choice of who you're going to partner yourself off with. And I found that really strange, because nowhere in the game up until now has it ever been implied that your character could be questioning sexuality or anything like that. So that I liked it. I thought it was cool, but I don't know. I think this episode, it will be very interesting when people play, because I think it's set.
Wait, who's the main character in this?
It's a boy and his brother.
Oh, it's a new person.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking it was characters from Before the Storm and originally. Never mind then.
No, totally new and stuff.
You should know this. You should know from one, shouldn't you?
Yeah, well, no, this is a different. I mean, the same world, different characters.
If they're new people, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Totally removed to a degree. Like, it won't say more or it would spoil it. But yeah, I don't know. I found this episode, look, I love preaching about things I believe in, but I found this episode a little preachy on different things, sexuality being one, climate change and environment definitely being another. And I think it was a little preachy, but it really didn't follow up on anything that it said. So, look, I still enjoyed it. I really liked the game, but I think if you're on the fence with walking sims, you will not like this game at all, and especially the way it's going. So be prepared for highly narrative, and it's basically a talking visual novel or something, I think. Oh, that's the direction.
Well, it's not a walking sim if you're not walking; you're just watching it.
Well, there's elements of walking, but yeah, very, very. I mean, there was one section I think that went for about 40 minutes. That was basically just a cutscene out of the couple of hour episode. I'd say it's maybe 2.5 hours if you explore. So that's a substantial portion of it where you're just watching and not really interacting. But as I said, it didn't bother me, but it could definitely bother some people.
Not a fun thing to stream, I guess.
No, probably not. If you're not there for the story, you're probably not there at all, I think. So yeah, look, so it's been a good week, I think, for me. I've picked up a few different things, but they're the things that definitely interest me the most. So if you're on the fence on any of them, jump in or don't. That is your choice, as always. So where are we up to? Don't know what we've been playing. Oh, we've got these new releases. That's right. And this. Why don't we just really briefly touch on, because I don't know if you have any opinion on this, about the Microsoft and Sony partnering up on game streaming and AI development. What do you think?
I don't know. I'm not really a fan of game streaming. I mean, for one thing, a lot of people are not going to be able to do it because their internets are not going to be fast enough. Two, I would rather just, I don't know. I actually kind of like just having physical games. Actually, almost more than it's cheaper. Well, and not always, but I mean,
yes.
if it's a full price game, I can usually not pay as much if it's physical because I can sell the thing again, or I could buy it off of someone after a year and its price drops. I don't know. I mean, it could just be because I grew up in the age of everything was physical. I mean, I do play a lot more digital now because it's the only way you can get most of the stuff. I mean, I will admit it is nice that you don't have to like go out to the store and stuff. But I mean, usually I was just getting stuff mailed to me anyway. Some people like to collect physical things too. But streaming, I don't know. It just, I mean, you're at the mercy of your internet too. And if something goes wrong on their end, something in their, like, there could be an issue in regards to that. Something, one of their servers goes down and then a third of a country can't do it anymore or can't do it until that gets fixed. There's going to be some like lag to it too. If you're constantly streaming it, even if you have really good internet, it can't be like it's going to be more laggy than if you had it downloaded on your system already. I mean, you know, if you're playing games on, well, I mean, maybe that's not a good comparison, but if you're playing some games online even now, it just, there's lag too. Yeah, actually, forget about that. That's not a good comparison at all because then you have to do the other person's internet. But yeah, even if you have internet enough to get it to work, if your internet is enough to get to work but still not super super high speed fast, your game quality is going to be worse than the person that has super fast internet. And not only that, there's something that's going to make these companies more money if you think about it, because otherwise why would they do it? Like, I feel like it's not saving people money either.
No.
Like maybe an individual that plays like like you, for example, that just plays a little bit of everything. Because actually, probably what it would be too, and this is probably where they're gonna, one of the ways they're gonna get you with it. If it's a game that is only digital and you can only stream it, you can't pay like $60 to outright buy it. So you're gonna have to like virtually have a subscription to the game. Like, because you have to do that for like what, Final Fantasy 14 and stuff like that.
That's correct. Yeah.
But if it's a game where, I don't know, just like it normally be some single player game, you would still have to pay potentially more than $60 for it. I mean, like I said, if that's what you play is that game, you play a little bit of everything, you might be saving money actually.
I mean, that's on the premise that it is a subscription later on and you don't buy the game. But I think that's probably what it will be. Yeah, which as you say, that's the problem.
They never said that. They never said it would not be a subscription, but I feel like that's what they would.
I mean, that's the argument with on the Xbox with the Game Pass at the moment. You know, it's only $10 a month, but you know, if the game is only worth $60 and you end up playing it for more than 6 months, then you would have been better off to buy the game. You know, if you play it for a year, it's costing you, you know. So yeah. No, there are a lot of other games there, so it really depends, you know, what else you're playing and stuff like that. But I thought it was interesting because, I mean, the only reason this has obviously come about is because that they obviously consider Google and Stadia as a viable thing, you know, that they need to counter. Otherwise, they wouldn't be moving in this area. So, you know, obviously there's something to it. I don't know. Like, I mean, I know this is not directly the gaming arm of either Sony or Microsoft, so it's not affecting the consoles. You know, like, you know, when it's going to take over the other or anything, they're working together on it. So, like, they're, you know, you might keep that in.
Well, I mean, Microsoft is working with Nintendo now too. Microsoft's getting friendly with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, look, and it benefits everyone, I suppose, in the long run. I suppose my concern, you know, being primarily a digital game buyer and owner. Now, I find, like, I mean, we sort of forget, I think, because the Sony network has been fairly stable for the last couple of years, but it wasn't like 3 years ago, and there were periods where it was going down. And if you have digital games, if it goes...
Lizard Squad went away, they retired, that must be it.
Yeah, if you have digital games and they go down and you can't access the network, you can't verify the games, and you can get locked out of your own games that you paid money for. You know, and potentially if you had, as you say, Unknown, if the network goes down, if that were all the games you had, if that's how you were buying, you wouldn't be able to play anything. So, you know, I don't like, I buy the bigger games physical for that reason. But I mean, as I said, the network has been way better in the last couple of years, but there's no guarantee that that will stay the same. So, and as you say, the internet speed is a mass. I mean, it's a joke.
Yeah, or your internet company is just terrible, and you keep losing connection.
Yeah. So look, I'm sure.
Actually, too, that would. I mean, sometimes your internet just like drops for a second. They're just gonna cut you out of the game. It's like almost got to, right?
Yeah, of course. So like I
think it would just break a connection and you would just get knocked out or kicked out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see, to see what happens. I suppose like this, if this trend continues, then eventually, I think it will cost a lot more because once they have a monopoly, they can charge whatever they want if that's the only way you can get the game. So, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But I mean, for countries like Australia, obviously in the state we're in with the internet, it's really not going to work anyway. So, I'm sure they're still going to have alternatives. Moving forward, they'll still be.
I mean, I would think there would be a lot of countries in the world where this would be a huge problem. Like a lot, not even countries, just sections of certain countries too. Like I would think sections of like. I mean, I know there's sections of America that don't get good internet just because they're like in the middle of nowhere.
Well, it's something to watch. And then, I mean, the other part of that was they're going to work together in artificial intelligence development, which again, it doesn't directly relate to games. And, again, it's a bit of an answer to, taking on Amazon, Alexa and Google and all these things in the future. And I just think that's that's good. I mean, that will help everybody and anybody, the more companies that work together on that. So
I don't know. You don't fear of the machines taking over the planet?
Well, look, I'll probably be dead by the time that happens. I don't think it's going to worry me.
But, I think about it sometimes.
Do you? Yeah. I mean, I think it's still a fair way off, though, don't you? Before the machines.
I don't think so. I don't know. I mean, I think we are getting very off topic here, but I think that if something started happening bad, I think it would just be super fast.
Yes.
It would just all happen within like a couple weeks or a month. We all be like, oh, geez.
I could just imagine, well, if there's any robots listening to this podcast today and they'd like to, offer their services to earn me a few platinums at any point, please feel free to reach out, I mean, I think the robots taking it.
What are we talking about, CJ?
Well, the robots could do good as well. You're fearful that they will do bad things for us, but they might do good things. I don't know. They might finish off Kingdom Hearts 3 for me.
Machine learning can make things learn very, very fast.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, I'm excited to see. Maybe it will be in my lifetime. It probably depends how much longer I've got left.
And all you need is a bug in something, and
we will wait and
see.
Yeah, what happens there? But anyway, I found that quite interesting when I read that the other morning. So it's very interesting. But let's move on because whatever. And some new releases this week. So it's like a ton again. Look at that. It's just
there's good ones this week. Yes, actually good ones.
Would you like to start us off?
I would like to. There is Slay the Spire, which I like card games, and I watched this card game. This looks really fun. It's like a rogue like deck building card game thing. It looks good.
Yeah, this has got a very good reputation from PC, doesn't it? Is it PC or is it mobile? Or both, maybe, I don't know.
It was PC. I actually heard that I think they might have fixed some of it. I think what happened was it was like super big. Like it was still beta, I think. There was some issue with like power level or something or some card thing, I think. I can't remember. I think they tried to fix it. I don't know what happened because I stopped watching it.
Yeah. I think it's highly addictive as well, from what I've heard different people talking about it. So that could be great if you like card games. See, games like that, I don't know. They would have been like I haven't seen a trailer of it. I think something like that on Vita would be fantastic. I'm sure the Vita probably can't handle it, but like a portable.
Switch is getting it. You could play on your Switch.
Okay, because I think it would be a portable game. It would be really great, something like that.
I actually thought it was only coming to Switch and PC. I guess PlayStation gets it too. But
coming everywhere. That's good.
Another one, Dragon Quest Fantasy. I played those other Dragon Quest. I mean, I like these old school RPG things too, because that's some of the first games I ever played. But yeah, I'm happy they're making another Dragon Fantasy, not Dragon Quest. I think I said Dragon Quest, which is something completely different. Well, I guess Dragon Quest 1 and stuff is probably what this would look like, but Dragon Fantasy is what I meant to say if I said the other one. Yeah, I enjoyed those. I mean, it's kind of just what you would expect, some top-down 2D retro RPG.
Yeah, I was just reading the summary for that game there, and if you take out one word, if you take out the word retro, you could actually use that description for Dragon's Quest XI. It would work fine. Everything that says there is also in Dragon's Quest XI, except for the retro part. So there you go. Just shows you.
There's a crazy old woodsman in Dragon Quest XI.
Yeah.
There is. Oh, spoiler! I've been spoiled.
No, well, you should play that game. That game is fantastic.
I have been told so.
Yeah. No, it would happen. I mean, like all JRPGs, they could use the same description pretty much. Just change one or two words and it would work. Yeah. So that's out this week. So what am I going to throw out there? This Observation. So this is only available digital. I'll read it. Why not? Observation is a sci-fi thriller uncovering what happened to Dr. Emma Fisher and the crew of her mission through the lens of the station's artificial intelligence. Sam players assume the role of Sam. Oh, that's what it's called, Sam. By operating the station's control systems, cameras, and tools to assist Emma in discovering what is happening to the station, the vanished crew, and Sam himself. So you get to play as the ship. I think we've talked loosely about this game before. I don't know. It sounds familiar anyway. So I don't know. It's supposed to be good, I think. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. And then
we did talk about some game where you were a space station.
Yeah.
I don't think it was this one though.
I mean, maybe a bit popular.
Why would we talk? Why would it be like re-released again 4 weeks later?
That's true. Yeah. Maybe these games are becoming so similar now. I don't know, but I'm sure that one sounds like
we've run out of ideas.
Could be. Maybe this is
we've capped at the new games.
Yeah, maybe this is the better one. I'm not 100% sure on it. So that could be worth checking out if you like that sort of. It almost sounds like a bit like a management type thing, doesn't it? If you're changing cameras and stuff like that, I don't know. So I don't know. Well, maybe not. We'll see. And then Everybody's Golf VR. So I'm interested in this. I know I should have looked into this because I'm not sure if it's just a patch add-on for free to the base game if you have it, or if you have to buy it again. I have a sneaking suspicion you have to buy it again because I see it's listed on the store under new games. So I don't know. Like that could potentially be fun because that's a fantastic game. So in VR.
Is it supposed to be the actual thing, or is it some like offshoot? You only do. It's not the real full game. It's just 18 courses of Wii Golf or whatever.
Yeah, I think there's only 3 courses, so it's definitely not the full game. But maybe they're rolling out more courses as it goes, I suppose. So I don't know. The game is fairly grindy for the plat. So I mean, if it was just an add-on to the base game, and you could play some in VR and some normal, and it still counted, that would be pretty good, rather than a separate list and a totally different thing. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Did you want to throw out another one? I know there's a really big one coming. Well, it's sort of a big one, I suppose.
What, Dauntless?
No, well, no, I wasn't going to go. This Team Sonic Racing. You're not interested in this? Setting up the way for Sonic later this year.
I mean, I like karting games. I have not played a Sonic racing game.
Yeah, I think it could be quite fun. I don't know, because the other one is coming out later this year. So that's there. Someone told us that the Lost Door Complete Edition is supposed to be really good as well. So potentially you could check that out if you do. And then this American Fugitive, which does interest me quite a bit as well. So this one, a modern take on a classic sandbox action. Framed to your father's murder, you'll need to do whatever it takes to unveil the real culprit, tackling thrilling missions from the criminal underworld. Just don't let the cops track you down. Set in the deep south of the 80s, American Fugitive is a love letter to the classic movies and games of old. So I don't know. I like the look of that. I like the art style as well in that. So so it looks like some good indie sort of stuff this week. Actually, I think you were right when you said there's some good games coming out. It also looks like some crap there as well. But
there is.
Did you see?
There's definitely some bad ones.
Virtual reality. We're now past virtual reality. We now have virtual reality. Oh my goodness.
Put on VR headsets in VR.
Yeah, that's right.
Dive into nested worlds to escape your AI manager, Chaz.
Yeah, but look, if it's an easier plat, I'll be all over that for sure. If it's not, then I won't be. So yeah, I think that's enough there. So just a quick wrap around the store. There's some good deals on at the moment as well this week, or carrying over through last week. The EU store has the May savings, the add-on deals. There's some really good season passes prices in there if you're looking to tack on a couple of extra hours into your gaming experience. And the game of the week is RDR2, which is like over 100 gigabyte download. So if you're buying that digital, be prepared. That'll be fun.
Hopefully you got space.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, good internet as well to get that thing down. The NA, you've got the Totally Digital sale and the Ubisoft Publisher sale, which is whatever. I think Ubisoft, their prices are never that great in the sales anyway. So
you can save $5 here, or you could go and save 20. Up to you.
It's quite possible you can find a lot of those games cheaper physically as well, even with that sale price. And then the Hong Kong store, the deal of the month. I love the Hong Kong store for its deals because they're completely random. There's very rarely any theme or reason to what games are put there. It's just an eclectic mix of everything. And the prices are really random as well. They can be super cheap to like literally $5 Hong Kong off, which is like nothing. So I don't know how we can figure that out. But this week they had like 30 different random things. In fact, I think it's deal of the month, but it includes like 30 games. I don't know. And the only thing I noticed for Trophy Hunters Horse would be the Coma. If you haven't played it, this is the Asian stack, the one with
God, I hated that game.
You played it, yeah?
Played it twice.
Yeah. Well, I know this was the one that was.
I died a lot to that butcher of a teacher or whatever she was.
Yeah, it's not like a easy plat. I don't think is that I've never played it, but I've heard it's frustrating.
It's easy when you know what you're doing. The second time I had a super easy time. It's just the first time. I was too careful with the items that I was using. I should have if I just would have used items, I would have had an easy time. But I was like trying to save everything, like save all my healing items and stuff.
I'm sure it's the sort of game that once you've platted once, then doing the stack would be a lot quicker and easier the second and third. I think there's third time as well or whatever. So if you're interested, that one is the Asian stack. So it's not only physical, although it was released as an exclusive from PlayAsia, but like most of these exclusives, they eventually come to the Hong Kong store with the plat list, digital as well, and it's quite cheap in the sale. So yeah, that's a wrap up there. I don't know. Well, I'll be interested to see what people pick up. I'll be interested to see what I pick up and don't play. It'll be exciting.
Literally everything on there, right?
No, I know. I think I'm coming to the limit. I think I don't know. I've got to actually play some of the stuff I've got in the last couple of weeks. We'll see. I was even considering going back to the Xbox for a while as well. It's gathering dust, so I don't know. We'll have to see. So guys, MrUnknown's just stepped out for a moment, so I thought, seeing we're running a little bit shorter today in the episode, I thought I'd have a little bit of a go by myself and just add like a little sort of forgotten platinum section, if you like. We always finish with the spam games of the week where we speculate on what to play, and I know you guys and girls all know about the rat games, Something You, and all those other atrocities for short plats, but I thought maybe I can find some that have slipped past, and maybe I can let you in on some dirty little secrets to make these plats maybe a little bit easier as well. Now, not all these games, by all means, are dreadful games. In fact, everything I'm going to mention in this list, I quite enjoyed. So if you're looking just for a change from the quick 5-minute plat, or the 1 hour follow the guide, enter the word search style of plat, then maybe there'll be something here for you. And what I decided to do was basically see if I could find enough games that we could raise you one level in, I don't know, not too many hours, but as I said, not totally boring either. So I thought I'd kick off with the first one today, and that's Awkward. So this is a game that has 2 stacks, both on the NA and the EU store. It's a sort of like a card-based, family-style game or whatever else, a bit like That's You that came out earlier. The good thing about this game is that it doesn't require any mobile devices, so you can play it with a controller. Now, this list is very easy across both stacks, obviously. It's about a 5 to 6 hour game, but where this game really shines is that once you've had enough of playing it, after about the first round or 10 minutes or so, you can then just whack in your turbo controller. Now, this is a little bit sneaky, perhaps, but it's something I would definitely recommend. So basically, with a turbo controller, turboing X, you can basically plat this whole game AFK after you've completed just a couple of the core trophies. So I'm just looking at the list here. So you have to play a duo game. You have to play a game with 6 players. This is all done with one controller, though. You have to, or 1 or 2 controllers, play a game where you know everyone's name. Also, all the basic stuff here. The games are very, very simple. You're basically just choosing what answers the other player you're playing with would choose. So if you're doing it by yourself, or if you're doing it where you're being open with the answers, it's going to be incredibly easy to get, obviously, the 100% matchability, or the under 20% matchability, or even the 0% matchability trophies in this game. So once you've done all that, which might take you sort of 5 rounds or so that's the manual part of the game, you can then just leave, as I said, the turbo controller to turbo, and it will face the 1,000 questions for you. So that's where it takes up about 5 hours. Without that, you're probably looking at about 30 minutes, and then that on top. It would be quite monotonous, I imagine, to play 1,000 questions, but if you enjoy these sort of games, I suppose that's always an option. Probably the only 2 trophies to watch out for are to play on Valentine's Day, where you can obviously set your PS4 clock, and to play on Saturday night. Now, I had a little bit of trouble with this trophy. On both stacks, actually, I found that it was based on the GMT time, not on the time here in Australia. So I couldn't get either of these trophies. So that might be something to look into. It has been a while since I played it, so I don't know if they patched that out, so it actually matches the time on your PS4 clock. But if it doesn't, and you're having any troubles with that trophy, then I'd suggest just changing your clock, thinking of the GMT time in England for some reason. So that game is worth a total of 32 trophies, or 64 trophies if you stack it, for 2,460 points. You're getting the idea now. That's already a quarter of a level in 12 hours. But if you can play 2, if you have 2 turbo controllers, 6 hours, and probably really only 1 hour's work, and the rest AFK while you go do something else. Hint, hint, Netflix. Let's go to a VR game next. Now, I don't know if many people picked up on this game or not. It was a little pricey when it came out, but I believe the prices are, I have seen it on sale, so I believe it does move around a little bit. And this is the Cool Paint VR. Now, I'm just going to bring this up. Here we go. So Cool Paint VR. This also has 2 stacks, an NA and an EU stack. Now, this unfortunately is a PSVR game only. So you would have to have the PSVR to do this game. So in this game, you're looking at anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes if you just want to race through the trophies. Although it is quite a fun game to play around with. If you do play around with it, you'll probably get most of the trophies naturally. Most of them rely on you just clicking the different brush strokes or pencil strokes or different shapes throughout the game, and they're just layering in so many of them, whether they be 2D or 3D shapes. The only real trophies to watch out for in this one is just making sure that you do keep changing the different brush strokes, the different formats. The brush strokes take the most, but you're not looking at more than like a minute or 2 for either of them. So the trophy I'm just looking for here is the one where, so the Honey, I Shrunk the Scene. That's a lovely reference there. That'll be quite easily done. That's just by holding the button down and pulling the controller away. It will shrink everything down on you as you go through. Can't really see anything else. I remember there was one trophy here that was a little bit challenging, which was basically to make a massive shape. So here's the trophy I'm looking for. Masterpiece. Paint a scene as large as the Sistine Chapel. So a little bit of a reference here to Michelangelo and the Vatican here in Italy. So with this trophy, I know it causes some people a little bit of trouble. There are videos if you need them, but it is very straightforward. It's just about making a really big shape. So what you can do is just make as holding the T button down, make as big a sort of a circular shape, if you like, as you can, and then just slowly push it upwards. So you can basically keep making the same shape or making layers of shapes. So if you've filled up the area and that still hasn't popped it, then you can move into smaller shapes. But all you're really doing is just basically cramming the screen with as much stuff as you can. So potentially that is the longest trophy to get in that list, but a very easy double platinum. And we're looking at 60 trophies. Ridiculous, isn't it? 60 trophies for an hour's work there. If you stack both of them for another 2,430 points. So we're looking at sort of already half a level. Look at that, half a level, and you've hardly done anything. This trophy game is easy, isn't it? So now, why don't we put in something that's actually, something that I quite enjoyed. I don't know if this game flew under the radar or not. I think possibly it did. So this is in Vector. This is a rhythm game, if you like, sort of maybe more for the clubbing scene people out there. It's very straightforward for a rhythm game. Anyone could do this game. Now, when we talk rhythm here, we're talking like an on-rails rhythm game. So we're not talking like a Hatsune game where we click the buttons to hit. It's basically you're on a track and you just have the positions you move between along the track and you line it up with the corresponding hits as you go. So I suppose it's sort of similar. It's very straightforward. You just play through all the songs, basically. You will naturally probably fall, depending on how good you are, fall a little short of the overall 1 million point requirement. But as you go into the harder difficulties, that will easily come if it doesn't come through in the first one. You have to get an S ranking on 10 levels, and again, that will come very easily. And get an S plus rank on hard. Again, it's not too difficult. I'm sure one of those songs you'll find incredibly catchy, and it will earworm its way into you, so it won't be a problem. So the only really challenging trophy in this game in Vector is the Rhythm Savant trophy, where you need to get 75% perfects on any song. Now, this would definitely be a platinum breaker unless you're very good at these type of rhythm games, because it is pretty challenging to do this legit. Fortunately, though, there is a fantastic workaround solution. So if you just go, when you load into the game, if you just go to the options menu and you choose the latency option, input latency, you move the slide all the way to the right, 550 I think it is from memory, it will adjust the latency in such a way that you can't actually miss a hit. So you can start whichever track you like, and you literally don't even have to touch the controller. You can just let the little rhythm ship sail through the level, and you will easily make this 75% perfect on any song. So if you don't know that and you're having trouble with that trophy, I would definitely recommend that being the way to do it. If you do know that, you can knock that trophy out almost as your first trophy if you want, and very easy game other than that. And you're looking at about 5 hours. So in Vector is for 1,140 points, 25 trophies, and probably the most enjoyable game for me on this little list of games that we're going to pull up for you today in the spanning along a level. So the next one, let's go back to another VR one. Along Together. Again, it's another double stack. Don't we love double stacks? This time we're NA and EU. Again, this game has been on sale from time to time. Otherwise, I think not too badly priced. So this game, you're looking at anywhere between 1 to 2 hours for 23 trophies. And because of the double stack, we're at 2,280 points. Well, we must almost be at a full level by now. And we've had fun getting there, not like some of the rat games, perhaps. So this game is really super simple. You don't, there is no missables in this game. There is a chapter select if you choose to play without a guide, although you don't really need a guide anyway. There are collectibles, collectible toys throughout the game that you'll find. Most of them are very easy to find. A couple of the later levels, some of the puzzle mechanics, maybe just confusing to start with. Things just to watch out for in that final level. Just make sure you look up so you can see a shooting star. If it's not there, just hold your head there for a while. Now, the slightly challenging trophy, although as again, it is in the guide, if you were to need it, is the High Five trophy. This can be done on level 1-3 or the treehouse level. It's where the dog will turn around and look at you, and you just have to stick your hand out and he'll give you a cute high five. That was definitely the hardest trophy in this game for me. But super simple now how to do it. There's a trophy where you have to knock down all the apples in the treehouse level as well. Very simple stuff, guys. So I'm sure you can figure this one out by yourself. It's also a really cute and really fun game. So if you have VR and you haven't heard about this is Along Together, I definitely recommend doing it. Maybe it takes you 3 or 4 hours the first time without a guide, but definitely very, very quick the second time. Perhaps the only potentially frustrating trophy in this game, because there has to be one, doesn't there, is the Box Jumper Pro. So there is a trophy for playing with all the toy collectibles as you find them, or you can do it at the end if you wish in the treehouse. One of them is this little Game Boy style machine where you basically have to tap your guy over little bumps either from the top of the screen or the bottom of the screen, avoiding them. So you just need to get 40 points. But like all these trophies, I find it starts off really, really easy. You'll get your 20 points, no problem. And then you'll get to 30 and the pressure starts to build up. The fingers crank up a bit, the sweat's going. And then all of a sudden you die on 38 or 39. Or maybe that's just me. I don't know. So that could take you a couple of goes, or if you're just a legend at these type of things, you will sail through it. But that is definitely the hardest trophy in a game that really has no hard trophies at all. So how are we going? We're almost at a full level now. Look at that. And we're still having fun. Well, look, I'm having fun. So let me throw in let me throw in just one more. This will tip us over the level. In fact, this will bring us to, let's see, this will bring us to 8 to Glory. So 8 to Glory, what a fantastic idea this game is. Endorsed by the National Bull Riding Association of America. It's the official licensed game. You'll get to ride all your 24 or 36 young, fine stallion bull riders. I think it's 36. Who knows? Who cares? It doesn't matter. In this game, you only really need to ride one of them for the majority of the game, and then you just can quick ride through every other character in the game to fill out that trophy. So the gameplay's super, super simple, I found. I know a few people had trouble with it, but I think it's very simple. There is a guide again if you need it, but I really don't think you do. For this game, we're looking at 6 to 8 hours. Again, it would just depend on how naturally you find the mechanics, but it's a very repetitive game, so I think you'll pick it up really quickly. Generally, it's a QTE style bull riding game, obviously. So think Toro, but better, obviously. So it's broken down into 3 sections. You have your grip strength, your forward balance, and your combo setup. All just button prompt pushes, a little bit of R1 pushes involved, and just nudging of the stick to keep the bull in the center. So what you'll be doing in this game is going through the career events. There's all 27 of them, finishing up in Vegas, of course. As you go along, you'll be unlocking gear and money as well. Now, you want to basically keep your money, or you can spend it as you go. If you want, you can just keep it to the end. Again, if you do keep it to the end, a little tip here might be that you're going to have a lot of money. So if you've got a turbo controller, you can always use that to open up all the booster packs if you want. Think FIFA, but actually not using any real money of your own here. So what I would recommend is if you are saving up your money, don't buy the lesser valued packs. Always buy the 60k booster packs. They will unlock better riding gear as well. Now, I understand the game has been patched quite a bit, so there may be a little variation here, but I know the first time you win the Vegas event, you get 600k, and you'll also get one, or at least one piece of pro riding gear. Now, it used to be on the initial patch that you could, and if you were playing the physical version, this would still hold true, you could just keep repeating that Vegas final event. You would get 600k every time and a guaranteed riding gear drop as well. So it would only take you sort of 3 times for the gear, and then, as many times as it needed to buy all the rest of the gear. But at 600k or 60k booster packs, so you're getting 10 each time with that one event for a couple of minutes, it doesn't take very long at all. Now, it might be worth maybe getting this one physical if the patches have changed that, because I know there's been a little speculation, but if it is, it would just mean a little bit longer in the grind as it goes along. Once you finish the career mode, you've got perhaps what is the hardest trophy in the game. Again, not a very difficult game though. And this is the the Magic Train in arcade mode, aiming for a score above 90. So it might take you a few tries to get this. The general tips, I suppose, in this would be that obviously you have to nail the QTE in the first section, nail the circles when they go blue with the R1, and just keep nudging the bull towards the center of the ring. It's kind of a weird way to see the center, because it naturally drifts you to the right, and the way the screen sort of angling there or showing you the event, it looks like you're far on the right. But if you just keep moving yourself a little bit over to the left, you'll be in the center, and you'll find that goes up. I always found that the positioning score was the lowest one for me, so that will definitely help you to get the 90, and you only need to do it once, so you'll get there anyway. And that will also potentially come as you're working on the other things. Now, depending on how quickly that comes, all you got to do is work through. Oh, there were 40 riders in the roster. Fantastic. All 40 riders. Also, don't forget to change arenas as you go through all 15. And then finally, you've got to complete the remaining successful rides in arcade mode, which are to total 100. So again, depending on how many times the 90 takes you, you may have a chunk out of that. If it only took you a couple of times, by the time you rotate the 40 riders, you're probably close to 50 anyway. So you've just got 50 quick 2 or 3 minute things. So as with all these games, particularly this one, where it's just repetitive, I wouldn't necessarily recommend playing it all in one go, but it is a fun thing just to have on your system, just to chip away at. I'd say it's around 6 to 8 hours in total, and it's kind of fun if you like these type of games as well. So that's just a really quick wrap on how you could earn. Let's have a look. Wow, look at that. 11,910 points in, I don't know, less than a day. So, if that interests you, well, that'd be a big day though, I suppose. If that interests you, it's just an alternative to the rat. And, maybe a few tricks along the way. So I think Unknown's come back in now. So we might just finish up this episode with a little bit of talk about the spam for the week. Why don't we tack on some tactless behavior at the end of this episode, and shall we just pull some spam games out?
There is a lot.
There is a lot, and I know.
Well, did you guys talk about this last week?
No, we hadn't.
What did you guys?
We didn't really do it last
You
week.
didn't?
No, we just
Oh man,
avoided it.
how far back?
Well,
was it not since I was here?
Yeah, anything in the last week or two, throw it out there.
Far back I'm going on this list. Okay, so we have Asian stacks of all the energy games now, Vita and PS4. So for games that came out 2 years ago, or 3 even, maybe it was 3. Yeah, we are now getting
we're getting all of them.
Now getting Asian
Invasion,
stacks.
Balance.
Yes,
There was another one.
we're getting all of
I
them.
forget. Cycle.
We had the new one too. We just got Asian stacks for.
So to top up your Hong Kong account, people, you're going to be busy.
Yeah, it was about 2 years ago, almost exactly. Yeah, so we got all that. We have just the typical. We got more Asian stacks of Super Weekend Mode and Zerotopian Invasion. What else is here? We got. Oh, we got that tower. I don't know if you might talk about this. That Tower of Dragon Asia game. That's another thing that we get in these trophies now. These deep into games, like freaking Jack 2 debug 5-minute plat now. Tower of Dragon Asia 10-minute plat because you just have to push buttons. It's not even gaming. You just push buttons.
Well, this is the spam topic, so that is allowed.
I haven't done that one. 872 people have played this game already. Probably more because that's just.
Well, I mean, if you haven't done that and you call you.
And almost everyone has platted it.
I don't think there's a spam hunter left that hasn't done that one yet already. But if you haven't, definitely jump on that one. This back.
Well, I was actually looking at this one the other day. I went on to the 100% Club to see how many people actually played the thing. Okay, so 850 people finished this under 3 hours. Actually, I'll even go to 835 people have finished this in under 1 hour.
Everyone's done it.
There's no way they did not do the thing. There's probably one. There's a week, 4 days, 2 days, 1 day, 1 day, 20 hours, 17 hours, 11 hours, 10 hours, 7 hours, 5 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours. Everything else is like, it just goes close to 100 or to 1
Probably
hour.
Most of them finished it in under 10 minutes.
Or they actually decided to play the thing. Who knows? All right, what else we got? We got this. Were you gonna say back in 19?
Yeah, that will be about an hour.
Yeah, that looks like like a 1 hour. That's a rat game I learned today. Not surprised.
No.
Oh, there's actually another publisher to this. I don't understand.
It's a new player.
Actually, the developer? No. That's weird. I don't want it. Why is there 2 publishers? Doesn't Rat just do everything? I don't know. I thought that was their business. They have a code that converts.
They're opening up the playing field, but there'll be I think a lot, maybe 6 stacks of that as well. I think it seems to be.
Oh yeah, there will definitely be 6 stacks of that.
Vita as well.
There would definitely be.
Yeah, it is Vita. Yeah. So that
this last door is going to be an easy one.
Yeah, I believe there is a guide potentially in the making.
Looks like a point and click. Probably an hour.
I was recommended that game, actually. That's a game from PC, so apparently that's supposedly all right, but we'll see. It'll definitely be...
I don't know if you ever played Acted Out Charades or whatever that game was called. We got ones with plats now. Like, it's the exact same thing. You just got to play the game probably like 2 hours this time instead of 1, and you get plat.
I think we're going to have to up the number to 100 plats a day. This 50 is just not cutting it anymore. We've got to pick up the pace with all this coming out.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, to get 100 plats a day, you have to have a lot that are under an hour. So if you just have more hours,
that's true. Well, I did read today the ever confident the Dat1 Seagull, I think his name is. He has some sort of an attraction to mayo, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
He laid down the challenge that he may be popping 50 plats over a 5-day period each month. I think that was correct, or was it a 10?
I think that's doable.
No, 5.
I think that is doable.
Yeah. Well,
we're gonna see.
Age. We're definitely gonna see. Yes. Yeah. Well, we'll see, and hopefully we get to talk to him at some point and find out how that goes, because that will be.
You're gonna be a guest.
That will be.
He wants to be a guest. CJ.
Well, look, if he can do 50 plats over 5 days, was it every day for 5 days? I think that's what he said. 50 plats each day for 5 days in a row. If he can do that, I would love to talk to him. I could get some tips because I've never managed to do that.
Well, one of the tips is make sure you have games
Yes.
that you haven't played every single one that come out, which you might not be able to do it yourself because you probably played every 5-minute thing already.
But I'm sure with that many, there'll be something that I missed, which would be fantastic. So yeah, no, hopefully we can definitely talk about that at some point. Look, that's a ton of games. I don't know. Is there anything else?
Oh, this game actually looks good, but I will classify it as spam because there's 6 stacks of it. My Big
that's
Sister.
out already. Yes.
There's 6. Yeah. And
it's like an hour with a guide, I think.
You can do it in like an hour. So I feel like I heard it's a good game.
Mindy said we should play it first. Yeah.
I'm still gonna classify it. Yeah. But I'm gonna classify it as spam because what's gonna happen is there's going to be people that just play it 6 times.
Well, Mindy did actually mention that we should play that without a guide. And then I left it for a week or two because I thought she might forget. And then the other day I sent her a message saying, where is the text guide? So hopefully, I'm sure she won't listen this far. So I'm safe. But, if I do plat that in the next day or two, I definitely did it myself without the text guide. Sure. We'll go with that. Yeah. Sure.
Sure you did. Or you actually just Googled it or went on to PlayStation Trophies and looked.
I don't like that 8-bit or whatever style of art you call that. I don't like it, so I may just do that.
Wait, you don't like you don't like that? How can you not like that? That's an awesome art style.
No, I just don't like it. I think that's why, but yeah. But
look, maybe I don't know why it's just not high quality enough for you, not like
yes,
it looks like a motion picture film.
I'm a pixel snob. I can't handle this low grade 8-bit.
What about 16-bit? Is that good enough for you?
Look, on a no, not really. I'm not living in the 19th century. I don't need to see stuff like that.
Is this really 8? I thought this was 16-bit.
It's probably 16. I just classify it all like that. It's all looks the same to me. But apparently the story is good, so I don't know. We should at least one of us should try that at some point. We probably will. So look, I think that is a stack of stuff. I can't see anything else. I'm sure there's more and more stuff hiding. There's more and more stuff every week, so it's not going to be an issue.
Is Darkwood?
No, not that. No, that was the one that had the warning about being really hard at the start. Don't buy.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a ton, which is fantastic. So that is more than enough for us today. Again, it was a little bit deep or whatever, but if you made it this far, and I hope you did. I hope you enjoyed it. We've got quite a few guests lined up over the next few weeks as well. So you won't have to just listen to our opinions, for the next few weeks and across a multitude of different sort of areas and things. We've decided to move a little bit towards like just normal people guests because I know there's a lot of podcasts, but not a lot of opportunity for just normal gamers to talk about their interests and what they're doing. So we're going to, have just people like us, normal people, I think. Well, if you can classify us as normal in the next few weeks as we go along. So as usual, Mr. Unknown, I want to thank you for joining me and tolerating my shenanigans. Where can we find you?
Find me on Twitter, MrUnknown625. You can also find me on Twitch, MrUnknown625. And I'll stream like most days on there. Granted, I don't know exactly 100% what the content is going to be. So it's probably still going to be a lot of trophies, but probably some Switch things and figure out still. So bear with me.
Well, check it out. It'll be something. It'll be exciting, whatever it is, I'm sure. Just a reminder, the show has its own Twitter. It's at push2, the number 2 plat. See, Mindy, I'm learning. It's the number 2. Push2 plat at Twitter. You can post on there if you want, or you can send these DM messages or whatever you like. We'd love to get some more questions if you like. And also on that vein, if you think you'd like to be a guest and you have something to say, it can be anything on any topic, send me a message and we'll have a chat and see how it goes. We're definitely open to it. We're pretty booked up for the next couple of months, but we're definitely open to it later in the year. So the show is available on iTunes Podcast, YouTube, SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, and Spotify. And just a reminder, it was great to see the dislikers were out again this week on YouTube. I've been missing you guys. Thank you for coming back. But if there are any likers out there as well, but only about 20% of our listeners at the moment are coming through YouTube. So we're getting listens across all the things. So thank you if you're persisting with us as well. That's really awesome as well. And yeah, I think that is us done for today. So happy hunting, happy gaming. Thank you, Unknown. I'll see you guys next week.
All right, see you, everybody.